Yes, people, welcome back to Premier League Unpacked EP.7 with my guy Tom up in the place. How you doing, Tom? You good?
What's going on, bro? I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling even better after that City game.
You're looking hella fried.
Fried up, bro. It's been a long day. Yeah, been up and about with my daughter. So yeah,
I
we're
know.
running a bit later, but I appreciate it. It was good to watch the City match and good to see us get over the line. So
Do you
glad
know
to be
what,
here, bro.
Tom? I'm happy for you, man. At least someone's team is doing well, bro. After yesterday, I'll be honest
Mm,
with you, my head's been in my hands, and I've just been down because I don't know if you caught my preview with Graham that I did before the Arsenal Crystal Palace game. I was saying that
mm,
Crystal Palace, Southampton, Brighton, these next three games are very, very vital for us to be getting the 9 points out of these next three, not just to gain momentum, but because it's going to be going into the last phase of the season, last couple of games against tough opposition, and it put us easily placed and to stay strong favourites. However, we fucked it up, Tom. We raw fucked it up. And it's hard. It's one of them because from the minute get go, Crystal Palace played us off the park, Tom. They played us off the absolute park, knocked us for six, left, right, and centre. Conor Gallagher, Zaha, the whole team. Normally, Arsenal are very good at closing the gaps and defending the spaces very well of late. They've learned how to
mm,
defend as a team. It looked like there was no midfield there. It looked like they were all over us like a rash. And
mm,
it was very, very surprising to see because I honestly thought we'll go in that game and get a comfortable victory. Obviously, I know that Palace are a decent side, doing well, stuff like that. But I just thought momentum's with us. Obviously, I know international break come, but we've been looking good. And I've seen enough in that Arsenal side to go and beat a Palace side that has got the tails up. So I thought it would be a comfortable game for Arsenal. And how wrong was I, man? Did you manage to
mm.
catch any of it?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of the second half. Obviously watched the highlights and watched match of the day and was kind of following it on my phone at the time when it was happening. But
Mm.
watching back bits of the highlights and watching back bits of the game, Palace just look so energized, man. Like they look like they just. I don't know if that I don't know enough about how they've been playing this season to know if that's a systems thing or if that's
Mm.
how kind of geared up they were for the game. But it looked like they had more in the tank as well as being the better side. Really, in the end, like you say, playing you off, and that is the where you maybe pick up the extra concern in it. Like I know people probably anticipating you to come on and be the first and loudest, like quote unquote, like negative voice, which is misleading because you're not really negative about it. You just like to kind of stay grounded. But how does it feel for you? Did it feel like it was out of step? Did it feel like it was unexpected, or were you still feeling like I can sense that this is coming, where we're gonna have a bad loss and people are gonna be brought back down to earth a little bit?
Do you know what, Tom? I've always been keeping my feet on the ground, as I've said, as you know, from many times before, man. I've said it
Mm,
time and time again. I'm not trying to get too excited because Arsenal always end up letting man down and stuff like that. However, I was slowly getting brought back into the hype of thinking, you know what, it's a good chance now we can actually get this fourth spot because going to the game, obviously, man's an emotional guy, bro. When you're in the within the atmosphere, you're in the crowd and you're winning and everything's going right, the belief starts to go up and only right because we still are in the driving seat. Now players have to stand up tall and be counted because Kieran Tierney out injured for the season. Massive, massive, massive
big
blow.
loss,
And you
big
know what?
loss.
Man is gutted because Tavares, who come in, he was doing well for the early part of the season. And then now he just looks like he's fallen off. We put in Shaka at left back, and I think Shaka looked it a lot better there. But the problem is you have now is Partey is injured as well now, so we're really fucked because we need to now cover midfield, which was only got currently Lakonga and El Neni in there, and I don't
Mm,
think none of them are good enough.
mm.
Or we drop Saka in left back, I would say, and play Martinelli up front. And I think that's where Mikel Arteta's biggest mistake was yesterday, Tom. He
Yeah.
didn't start Martinelli because we needed that energy right from the get go.
And Saka at left back might have just, even just if it was just psychologically for them to see a player with pace that's a winger themselves, you know, whether that would have swayed the way that, because Arsenal, Palace just looked like they were, you know, they just looked dangerous, didn't they? Zaha looked dangerous, man. Like, fair
No,
play
man.
to him. Like, he played really well, and Vieira, we do want to spend some time, you know, on Vieira and how well Crystal Palace did, but it was a little bit worrying for Arsenal. And like you say, one thing that you said, and again, this is you just being kind of just maybe having the foresight. You said a couple of weeks back on here that all it would take is a few injuries. You know, the squad's thin. You know, that was some of the complaints you had coming out the January transfer window was, okay, yeah, we've come out the January transfer window into like a good run of form.
Mm.
We still got the same thin squad.
Yeah,
And, you know, losing one, two big players in this next run in can often be at this time of the season the difference between whether you win the league or come second, whether you get fourth or don't get fourth. If you don't have that squad depth, I think I heard Gary Neville saying on one of his conversations that if Liverpool were to get a big injury like a Van Dijk, a Trent Alexander-Arnold, it could really like decide or shape the title race. Whereas you can't think of a particular City player where you think if they got injured, City might be much less likely to be able to win the league. Do you know what I mean? It's about
yeah,
that squad depth, and the Liverpool team is getting deeper and more stacked in those forward positions, but there's still certain places on the pitch where you think, God, if that player left, that individual wasn't there, there'd be a big void to fill by anyone on the bench. Never mind if then your bench is thin or has got young players that haven't really, you know. So like you say, when all of a sudden one, two, three players are out of this Arsenal team, and you're
yeah,
looking at the names that are coming in to fill the places, and now you're looking at them on a team sheet alongside a Crystal Palace or against, God forbid, against, you know, City or Liverpool, whatever. It's not the same conversation as when Arsenal had, you know, more players fit, more players available a few weeks back. Was playing with confidence, and you were feeling like, yo, Arsenal could turn up anywhere and get a result. You don't
mm.
feel like that as much when it's El Nene and Lokonga in the middle.
No, most
You
definitely
know what I
not,
mean?
Tom. And you know what it is as well, yeah? It was just disappointing because I expected a lot more for them group of players. Yeah, Kieran Tierney might have been out, might have been injured or whatnot, but you gotta make yourself count in them kind of games. It looked like Crystal Palace were going for fourth, and Arsenal were just comfortably mid-table. It didn't look like we had that fight that we normally had. And you know what? Yeah, as much as I can say that about them. I got to give credit to Crystal Palace as well because like I said, from the minute get go, they were on us. Conor Gallagher was on Thomas Partey 24/7. Didn't let him control the game. Didn't let him
Yeah.
get the ball. Didn't let him find no space. And you got to give credit to Patrick Vieira and the way Vieira managed that team. And I think Vieira doesn't get spoke up about enough because with what he's done to that Crystal Palace team within a short space of time, Tom, is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about it. They were under a Hodgson side for a number of years, and they were boring to death. Now they're doing the number on City, doing the number on us. Like they're out here now, and that's all down to Patrick Vieira. Yeah, he's got his little experience in France and whatnot, and I think that's a massive part of his development. And it's told now because he's not one of them young managers. He's a manager of age. You're forgetting he's like the era above like Arteta and that kind of in a sense.
Yeah.
And he's got that knowledge. He's been around the best players. He's been around City coaching, and I can see like I think people need to give Vieira his props now.
It's
I
going
don't
to
know
be
where you
interesting.
stand on it.
I mean, definitely echoing everything that you just said. I think it's going to be interesting to see, especially if he stays at Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace is an interesting club. Do you know what I mean? It's a London
Mm,
club at the end of the day. So already you've got a lot of potential in terms of economically and money, whether that's with owners or whether that's just if you manage to get a good manager and build yourselves into a good position, like say a West Ham have done,
yeah,
there is money, you know, floating around in that part of the country that you're living in where it's not that far fetched for Crystal Palace to suddenly be able to step up to a different level as a club. Um, I don't think that any of us necessarily anticipated that happening anytime soon. But if Vieira was to stay there,
Hmm.
and I guess what's making me have this train of thought is thinking about what you were saying about him being at City, being involved in the youth setup, it's understanding development, seeing how the actual, not just understanding development, but seeing how the development of City, the machine today, happened, because he was there in that transition period, kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Of when a lot of that stuff was still getting built and implemented, when the actual training grounds and Connell College and some of the resources and facilities was getting built. So from a development point of view, both in terms of players and developing a club, he's got insights there. I think
Yeah.
he went out to New York with the New York City franchise at
Yeah.
one point, was out there again, understand of building a brand, building a club, a club that's kind of, because the whole of the MLS is kind of like an emerging economy. He's used to that over there, and now he's come to Crystal Palace, and he's competing at that top level, and he looks like he knows what he's doing on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? He looks like
Hmm.
the strategic and tactical and technical genius that he was as a player is transferring into. Sorry, bro. He's transferring into his management. So now you start to think, okay, this guy could be a real force, like a Pep or something, where he's not only a great manager, but if he decides, say, for example, I'm going to stay at Palace for the next X amount of years, and they're going to kind of give me the reins to map out a broader picture for not only this is the kind of players we're getting, this is the kind of style of play, but this is also what's going on in the youth team setup, etc. Then he could do something special somewhere, because he looks like he's got the full package, not just as a manager, but like I say, for these managers today, it's more than just tactically what they can do on the pitch. To be a Pep, you have to have a broader vision. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
imagine that it's showing signs of Vieira maybe being able to be that guy, that next guy in this next generation of managers. That's
No,
a big
most
praise. It
definitely,
might not
Tom.
manifest, but go on.
Most
Sorry, bro.
definitely. I feel like he's here now. I think he's established himself. He's got some players under his belt. Players are playing for him, and he's that big name that you're gonna have respect for if you're playing for. If you're walked into the changing room, you're gonna have respect. He's probably got them links now where he can go and attract players, because there'll be the younger players now of this generation that would have looked up to Patrick Vieira and wouldn't
Yes,
mind playing. So,
100%.
like I said, his Palace might not have the financial power yet. However, they have got a pull now. And
Yeah,
if they can get into Europe and bring some money in, and now Vieira still there, the skies could be the limits for them. I'm not saying that they're going to go on and win the Premier League, but they can reach heights that they probably never thought they can reach. You know what I mean? I don't think they finished in the top 10 in the Premier League since they've been in the Premier League. And it looks like, you know, the way
could be
that
on
they're
course for
playing,
that.
they could be on course to probably get Europa League, to be honest with you, or that Conference League. So I've got to say, big up to Patrick Vieira, even though he gave us a kick in the dick yesterday, man, because that was our chance to capitalise, Tom. I swear our man's hurting, man. I'm really
Yeah,
hurting, bro. Pissed off because it was a lackadaisy performance from the boys. And fucking hell, man, we needed that. That was the first game we needed to start gaining momentum from. And it just, they couldn't even finish the dinner as well. We had opportunities in the game
yeah.
to score. I'm not saying that we would have won the game, but there was opportunities there. They just didn't look at it at all. Are you all right? You
I've got a
got the
bit of a
cost?
tickle on my throat, yeah, but that was one of the things that I thought watching the game. I looked at that Emil Smith Rowe missed chance. I looked at who was the other one?
Odegaard as
Odegaard.
well. Yeah,
And both of them players in particular, I thought those are two players that have been performing really well
yeah,
recently, but are young players. You know, they are still coming into that stage of their career where they can perform at a really high level week in, week out, which is what they have been doing during this spell.
yeah.
But to get to that point where, you turn up in those big games, in these big moments at the tail end of the season, you have those opportunities, and those goals can be so influential in the course of a game. And like I say, because it's the tail end of the season, now every game can shape the fine margins that are fourth or fifth, which in
Yeah,
turn could shape what the next 3 years of your club are. So there's a lot of pressure on these moments, do you know what I mean? And I
of
think with
course.
some of these younger players, they've got all the ability in the world, and they're stepping up to the plate time and time again. So this is not a knock to them. But I looked at those chances missed and I thought, I know this sounds obvious and stupid because he's probably the best player in the world, but if those chances fall to Salah, if they fall to, even if probably if they fall to Henderson, or
Give the fall to
like,
me, I'll put them away. Talking about.
you know, even if they fall to a Henderson, just a more experienced player that's kind of been there before and is, I don't know, just
Why are you trying to
somehow
mock it
manages.
about Henderson? Get me,
No, no,
Henderson's nowhere
no.
near,
But
man.
that's the point. Henderson's not got the technical ability of those players
Yeah,
in that part of the pitch. But I'm talking about just the ability to come through in them big moments, and
yeah.
if you
He's
get a
got the
chance
experience in
to
them
seal it, yeah, and
moments.
just to grab a moment, grab a game by the scruff of the neck, and not let
Mm.
those moments just pass by, and then the game just goes the other way.
You know what,
You
Tom?
know,
Our issue there, yeah, is it all comes down to January and not buying a striker because Lacazette, he might as well have just sat on the bench. I swear to God, yeah, it was just we had no strike. It's like he
yeah,
didn't hold the ball up, he didn't get anybody involved. He was just
yeah,
basically a ghost on the pitch. And you know what? I can't blame him for that because
yeah.
yeah, he's trying to do his thing, he's trying his best, but it's just not good enough, man. And we can't be giving Lacazette a new contract. I'm telling you that now for a fact. I'm hearing that they want to give him a year, and if we get a top class striker in, then I wouldn't mind maybe giving him a year as a second choice striker coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go because that's all he's probably got left in him, you know,
Mm.
and give us a different option. However, for me, I think it's time to go with him. You know, he's served the club well. Just got to say
I
goodbye,
think,
get two strikers in because that was a big problem, Tom. Big, big
yeah,
problem.
I think the problem with Lacazette as well is that he kind of does he kind of doesn't suit the shape that Arsenal play either. Like
Mm.
he'd almost be better. Lacazette would be a great striker in like an old school traditional top two. Do you know what I mean? Where you had like a
Yeah, you
strike
fed off another
partnership,
striker,
and
yeah.
sometimes you've got that guy that like not Heskey, but do you know what I mean? Them players that like almost get like
Cole York.
yeah, and yeah, just some of these players that don't maybe get all respect in the world for their own striking and goal scoring acumen, but anyone that supported that club tells you that like the person next to him isn't who they are without them there. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm.
Lacazette gives me them vibes sometimes. Like he creates a lot. He looks best when Arsenal are playing in a way where he suddenly is in the middle of other attacking players around him, feeding off him, bouncing off him. He's often got a touch involved in in any kind of nice worked goal coming through the edge of the box for
Yeah.
Arsenal. So he's got something there. But when Arsenal play against a Palace in a game like this, and the game gets kind of stretched, and now it's like a wide front three, and you've got wide style players like a Saka on the wing. Do you know what I mean? Players that can really stretch the pitch, and that's kind of to your advantage. Now he's like more isolated, and then he starts becoming mad ineffective. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not going to pick the ball up and suddenly start running at players and beat someone and smash one into the net, and he's not really going to be finishing and mopping up all of these chances in the box that he once looked like he was part of his game. Now he's just kind of more and more just becoming this guy that's like involved in
Nah, dead
other people
food, man.
scoring.
Dead
Yeah,
food now, man.
yeah,
Time's done. You
yeah,
get me? Time's done. You need to go now. At the end of the day, I've got no hate for Lacazette. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I just feel like Ras, we need a striker now. That's a serious banger. Someone where we let Aubameyang go in January, didn't get no cover,
Mm-hmm,
and that was a dumb decision. To be honest with
mm-hmm,
you, Tom, that was an absolute dumb decision. If this top
yeah,
four does, if we do let it slip and it comes
yeah.
down to a lack of goals, you just got to look at the board and look at the
Because you could
manager
have got
because we should
anyone,
have.
even if you didn't get even if you wasn't able to go out in that window and get the striker that's going to be the striker for the next
Mm,
3 years. Even if you
mm.
got the guy that after the summer transfer window is probably going to be your second choice striker, but
Yeah.
he was the guy you could go out and get now that's better than what you've already got. And because you've got a list of players, like you've said a few times, we've got a list of 10, 15, 20 targets where it's like we've decided we need to get a striker in. And
Mm.
these are the priorities. But if they don't come through, here's another list of players that we should be able to acquire that we'll take to just tide us over till the summer. That's
Yeah.
what some of these bigger clubs are doing. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they're
No,
buying
definitely,
players
man.
that aren't a
This.
masterpiece in the puzzle. It's just we need that now. He's available. He'll do. That sounds disrespectful, but do you know what I mean? If Arsenal had
Yeah.
gone out and bought I don't know, like you've said, like a Calvert-Lewin or a Ollie Watkins, or even, do you know what I mean? One of these guys he's not suddenly going to be the best striker in the world. So he's probably not what you're building around, but for now, it's another striker that can play until the end of the season. And then if you
Yeah.
go and get a really good striker in the summer, that's still a good person to have coming off the bench, giving you another option. But you, instead of waiting and getting that at the end of the year, you just get it now while you can. And then Martinez and these other players that you've talked about that maybe you weren't going to be able to just pull mid-season without the promise of Champions League or anything else. If
So I
Arsenal,
just had to laugh at this, Tom, because
bro,
I,
I've been
I,
thinking this. I've been
I
thinking
wouldn't
it all
take
week.
Rashford,
Rashford at
bro, man.
Arsenal.
I wouldn't take. You know why I wouldn't take him?
Go on.
Because I don't see Rashford as an out and out striker. Yeah,
Okay.
personally myself, and I don't think he's better than Saka. He's better than Martinelli. So it makes no reason to have Marcus Rashford. He's been falling apart at Manchester United, and I don't want no United rejects. Fuck all of that. You get me, bro? I'm telling you, I
No,
don't
because it can
want
go either
Rashford.
way.
Sorry for cutting you, Tom. That's it.
It's funny, no, it's
Answer that.
funny that one because I was looking at the Rashford. I've been looking at Rashford this week, and I was thinking to myself, he needs to leave United. And a few other people have been saying he needs to leave United. And then I was thinking, well, where could he go where I could see it working for him and him getting back to the player that it seemed like he could have been on course to be? Because let's not pretend there was a moment where Rashford was sitting different. I remember when he came to the Etihad and banged them. I think he scored 2 goals he definitely scored 1 screamer in the derby against City when they beat us one time there. And I thought, okay, and he was still young then. At City, no, I don't. Well, we don't need him.
You get me? So there we go. Yeah. So allow all this Rashford talk
what
to
I was going to
Arsenal.
say is it can go either way. So he can come to Arsenal, and if he ends up being a flop at Arsenal, then it's like, oh, so now we not only did we take a United reject, but he a reject. Because if he's a United reject, but then he comes to Arsenal and starts going crazy, he's not a United reject anymore. He's a flipping. It's now it becomes a vibe. Like when Tevez came to City.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh my God, it's even better that he used to play for United. And then he just bagged 2 against United and he's flipping, kissing the Arsenal badge. You fans are fickle. So all of a sudden you love him even more for it. Do you know what I mean? And when
Don't get me wrong. If he came, I'd support him
I could see him doing
wholeheartedly.
it. I could see him
But
going
I don't
somewhere
want
like
him.
Arsenal and suddenly getting back into that mode where he's just like, right. But I know what you mean. He's
We're
maybe
past
a
that
bit
stage.
too like for like, and it's too much of a risk. You need someone
Yeah.
who's just, you don't want to gamble on someone like he might come good like over here. And
There we
Ivan
go.
Toney was the one that
Second
was
choice.
I don't know if they could have even pulled him away from Brentford middle of the year because certain players are just loyal to letting their club get through to the end of the season.
Yo, this guy ain't loyal, bro. He's been cussing Brentford off at every opportunity he gets, bro. Have you
No,
not seen
but
him on social media and that, bro? This
no, I
guy's
mean,
got no manners
no.
for his club at all.
He'll be gone in the summer. But what I mean is some of these players, especially at somewhere like Brentford, where there's probably a very clear goal of we need to stay up, make it through a season. They might a lot of them players might think it's not a great look for me to leave mid-season. Let me get to the end of the year, get us over the line, and then I'll go. Do you know what I mean? So maybe it wouldn't have been possible to get him in the Christmas window. But if it was, then what are Arsenal playing at?
It's
Because
not
he
even
would
that,
have been a
Tom. It's
better
just
option than what you've got. He's got potential to be like better than everyone's expecting. And even if he isn't, and he's just as good as he is now, he'd still be a great second striker to a Martinez or a whatever if you then go out and do it in the summer. But you'd have him now. He could have played against Crystal Palace.
yeah.
That
But
one player
it's just that even in the summer though, we had an option to maybe get Tammy Abraham before he went to Chelsea. I mean, not Chelsea, Roma. And for me, he would have been a decent second choice centre forward. And we let that opportunity go. He fit the mold. He was young, Arsenal fan, would have loved to play for the club. So I think we missed a trick on him. I think even if we couldn't sell, like you said, sign that striker, even that second choice striker like Ivan Toney, if that wasn't available, we still could have went in for a loan on a player, 6-month loan, back up. Like I said, is Zapata from Atlanta. He was on loan, 30.
Yeah.
He's not going to stay there forever. 6 months, decent.
Yeah.
Done a number on United when they played them in the Champions League the season before. And he was an option that was available that we could have looked at. Like I said, is obviously Arteta wants to keep the squad short and small so he can manage them and micromanage them and all of that kind of shit. But sometimes, like I said, is 1-2 injuries and you're back on your ass, bro. Like I'm telling you.
Why not keep it small, but just get rid of 2-3 players in January as well and bring 3 in? Because you got rid of a few anyway, but you could have just got rid of a few if he really needed to. if they'd gone out and already secured early in the window 3 players in on loan, like let's say, like you said, or players. I mean, it's hard because you understand how the window just disappears because you start out going after your top target, and then you start having to go for your second target. Now you're looking at loans. By the time you're looking at loans, you spent most of the window trying to get your top and second target, and then it starts kind of drifting on you. But that's where you can see the problems with Arsenal and the intent in terms of even if they have spent money in the transfer market of late, they're not going in with that mentality of like we can afford like the 30-40 million pound signings, 25 million pound signings or loan deals should be like kind of not chump change, but like you do that even if it's not the long term process plan. You just do it because it's a piece that you need in the puzzle to get what you need this season. And that's where I would say it's slightly different with Tammy Abraham. Only slightly different because I kind of hear you a bit more in the summer transfer window, not wanting to like go out and buy, you know, and maybe spend quite a bit of money or part with some money on someone who's kind of long term you're thinking probably going to be your second choice, because then you've got a whole season to see if they come good. And like, I don't know, whereas mid-season, because you're already halfway through the year and you already kind of have a gauge on like what's possible, where are we positioned, what can we actually go for, are we going for the title, are we going for Europe, are we miles off Europe, and we already know that that's... So you can go into that transfer window kind of knowing like, we've got a good idea of how much chance we've got currently of getting fourth, for example, and how significant of a difference it would make having an extra striker or whatever. So it kind of is less of a gamble to just say, we'll part ways with 30-40 million on someone that maybe isn't going to be the main striker that you're building around in the next 3 years. It's kind of like, you might not even get the 30 million back for him one day, but he's going to be worth it for what he needs to do this season for you to get fourth, and he'll have a role to play next season. And there's a chance that they could...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear what
That's
you're saying,
the
but you got to
mentality
have
that
four. Yeah.
City were moving with
Exactly.
earlier on in the development. We got a Fernando when we got Fernandinho around the same time. He was
You
never
gotta-
going to be Fernandinho, but they got him because they needed him there and then. Do you know what I mean? Tammy is crap, not outperforming Lukaku.
Do you know what it is though? We need a body in it. At the end of the day, we need to be forward thinking, Tom. So regardless if it's, say for example, you get a Tammy in for a backup striker in the summer, but you think, right, I've got Aubameyang and I've got Lacazette and I've got Nketiah.
Yeah.
Arteta as a manager, it's like when you play chess, you got to be 3-4 steps ahead. You can't just be playing in the present. You got to be thinking about your next moves. Now he's got to already know he already had an issue with Aubameyang from the season before coming late and all of that. So in his mind, he would have already made a decision if he's going to go or not. He knows where he stands with Lacazette. Man looks like he's got 60 minutes in him and then tyres are getting bursted. He doesn't already want Nketiah. So what stopped him from you know, even if it wasn't Tammy, why not get another striker in? Somebody that can...
I think maybe because
Aubameyang weren't performing that last season either.
I think maybe part of the thinking is because the strikers that they want to go out and acquire. Let's Martinez as an example, because it's a realistic one that could happen if Arsenal get fourth place, I think. But it would be a top signing. He's a top player, and he could come and be like a top player, like one of the best players in the league. But no one's expecting that from Tammy Abrahams. Do you know what I mean? Tammy Abrahams isn't going to come and be the best player in the Prem. No one's expecting that. So when you get into that category of the Martinez's or them kind of strikers, I don't think that Arsenal could have pulled one of them last summer with the season they had last year, with none of this season and what's happened or, you know, happening as proof to kind of try and attract a player. I don't think they could have gone out and got a player of that caliber. They could only go out and get a Tammy Abraham. So then at that point, I can kind of understand you saying, instead of us spending money now on someone that is kind of not at the level that we need to really progress, let's try and get by with what we've got. I feel like the young can come through, do a job for me, get me to in and around that fourth place. And then the mentality should have been at Christmas, if we're in position where we're looking like we could get Champions League, we've got a bit more pull. And so we can try and go for those big name strikers and finish out the season strong. If we can't get them big name strikers, then we go out and get Tammy Abrahams or an Ivan Toney or someone that's maybe not, we're not anticipating to be the best player in the Premier League, but is going to play a role that we can already see is going to be useful in the rest of the season. And now we know it's worth buying that player because we know
Yeah.
there's something that we're going for. If you get
But
Tammy
Tom, this
Abrams at
is
the start of the
people
season
having
and finish
sense.
8th, now it's more money wasted. Do you know what I mean? And then just another average player that's on the roster that you need to get rid of, basically. Like Arsenal have got a lot of players you've run through in the last however many years that were like, from pretty soon after they got there, you already knew like, oh, we need rid of this guy. Do you know what I mean? Mertesacker
Yeah.
and people like that, like they came and pretty quickly it was like, this is dead wood that now
Mm,
needs chopping. And you've only just bought them 6 months, a year ago, but it just
mm,
became a longer list. And now, even now with Xhaka and certain players, like the certain guys that most fans or most Arsenal fans are probably saying, I've been saying for time, this guy needs to
mm.
go, this guy needs to go. They've done a bit of a good job of clearing some of it in Christmas, but I don't think I can understand if you're in the process of clearing dead wood, you don't really want to, unless your hands forced, go out and buy a player that there's a chance is just going to be another just average player
No.
that's not good enough to get
No,
you
I
to the
do
next
hear
level.
that, Tom. I hear what you're saying, but like I said, is you got to be forward thinking with the matter, regardless if it's Tammy Abraham or whoever it is. Obviously, we're fans. It's not our job to have shit in line, have
Yeah,
scouts out there already
yeah,
do that. You should already have that in place because Man City do. Like I said, it's every team sign players that are not good enough, bro. Simple
yeah,
as that, bro. Look,
yeah,
use man signed Nathan Ake for nah, that's no
yeah,
good. Went and signed Ruben Diaz, same
yeah,
season. You know what I mean? Like it's all a madness. Obviously, use up the money to do that. We can't really afford to make mistakes. However, the players Arteta has brought in of late, they have been decent signings. Obviously, you've got the odd two, the Tavares and the Lokonga, that are a little bit young and shaky and raw. However, the other, like the Tommy Yasu's, Ben White's come in and done well. Gabriel's done all right. Well, more than all right, to be fair. So
yeah.
the
Done
signings
well,
he's brought in have done
done
well.
really
It's
well.
just we need final pieces, and they put go building up to January. They put all the eggs in the Vahalovic basket, yeah, and they wanted that big striker, but they had no plan B. And if you got to move like a big club and a club that's ruthless, you need a plan B. And that is exactly what it is. And obviously, I just seen a comment in here saying about Premsey. I'm really shocked when you jumped on the Arteta wagon. I never did because I knew he is just an average coach learning on the job. See, the difference is I'm not jumping on no wagon or nothing. I don't know if you watch any of my stuff and that. But I just say what I see there and then. You get me? The bottom line of it is facts is facts. We're in the running to finish
Yeah,
top four in it. It doesn't mean that we're gonna get it. Like I said, is personally I have my doubts. However, we're mathematically we're there. We got a game in hand, and yeah, we got spanks off Crystal Palace, but we're there, and that's facts. Arteta's got us there. If he did get us top four, it's only right to let him see what he can do. If he can then go up and challenge, because you got to give him a little bit of props if he does get it, because at the start of the season, I don't think anybody thought we were going to get top four. You didn't, I didn't, nobody did. Obviously, we're in the question for it. Not saying that we're going to get it, because if you've heard what I've said from the minute get go, I've said to the last 5 games of the season, we'll see where it is. Bottom line of it is,
yeah,
whether you want Arteta in or you don't, they ain't going to sack him. So
yeah,
is either see a lot of fans that might not understand it. Yeah, when you go to the game yourself and you're actually a match going fan as well, you you're caught up in the hype, the emotion, the atmosphere, everything, because you love that team. You get me? You're not going there to be pissed off in a mood. You're going there to win and be happy and support your team. Regardless, as soon as that whistle blows, I ain't got no bad thought about any of my players. They're just getting 100% backing.
yeah,
After that whistle goes, they'll get support from me, and then whatever I need to say afterwards, that will get said, because it's rightly the game's done. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But ain't no man no jumping on no fucking Arteta bandwagon, bro. That's definitely not happening, because for me, if I could get an elite manager in, that's the first thing I would do, bro. But
yeah,
if a man's doing well, you got to give him his props in it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You can't just slander a man and be blind to good stuff that he is doing.
And like the once upon a time, Pep Guardiola was Barcelona manager without having ever managed like a top flight club. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Arteta is Guardiola, but All the great managers at some point was a manager in training. So that like doesn't, to me, if he's in training, yeah, and he's getting better and he's growing as a manager, you can take that if he's showing signs that he might be good enough to take you where you need to go in your short term plans. Do you know what I mean? Because then, if anything, that's better. Because if he's in training, that means he's still learning, still growing. That means that he could get us to fourth this season and be a better manager next year and be a better manager the year after, because he's still like, learning from having lost that game over here or doing this over there. So if he's still learning and you get fourth, then I don't think that's a bad thing. I think then you might start to feel like, okay, could this guy get better as a manager as we get better as a club? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many of these managers, the first club that they go into, that's the first big job, are they just instantly going to be a success? Like Gerrard, we give Gerrard flipping a lot of slack, really, in a way, or not a lot of slack, but a lot of praise for what he'd done at Rangers, and then kind of some slack for just what's kind of expected of Villa has happened since he's been there, just kind of win one, lose one, mid-table kind of behaviour.
Yeah.
No one's really like saying this guy's manager in training, he don't know what he's doing. Like, people kind of put some respect on the fact that he's growing as a manager and he's probably going to get to a certain level one day. And maybe because Arteta weren't really certain like that as a player, man don't put that respect on his name just naturally as a manager, where they expect him to get there eventually. People are anticipating that he's not going to get any better, but at the same time saying that he's still learning and he's don't really have any experience. It can't be both. Because
No, but Joe, it is though, Tom.
It's going to be better.
With Arsenal fans, we've just waited a fucking long time to challenge for the title and be in and around and the question for it. And it's one of them where, how long are we going to wait? Do you know what I mean? To see if this guy does graduate. Like I said to you before, if he doesn't get top four, bro, big questions are going to be asked for me. And say, for example, if he doesn't get top four and he's like a point off and it comes down to the last game of the season, then I'll be looking at it thinking, right, okay, let him see what he does in the summer, get a striker in, give him the first quarter of the season. If he's not doing anything by then, get him gone. Simple as that.
And at that point, it would be literally, I think if you're going to do that, you would almost want to do it like, go out in the summer, speak to certain managers, get certifications preed up, where it's like, look, he's got this many months, he knows he's got this many months, this is what our expectation is, this is what our goals are for next season. The position will be there if he, and then try and have some options. But I don't know, you still got a good chatting forth. It does feel like Tottenham fans would obviously love to just get fourth place, because they've kind of just been silently they've avoided being the topic of conversation while still staying within touching distance. So they've kind of benefited from kind of everyone just being like, Tottenham is shit, the squad's shit, there's problems over there, Conte ain't going to stay, it's all fucking fucked.
It's because they've got an elite manager, Tom, that's helped dragging them over. Like, they got an elite manager.
2 elite strikers.
Exactly that. And that other, whatever the fuck his name is, I don't even know my man on the right-hand side, Kubazeski or whatever his name is. He's doing bits as well. But this is what I'm trying to say. When you have an elite manager, like, everyone knows it. I wanted Conte from a long time ago. You get me? When you have an elite manager, he will drag your ass over that line one way or another. Yep. Look, when Alex Ferguson left and he won the Premier League, that team wasn't a fantastic team at all. Get me? They had a man like Phil Jones at the back. Do you know what I'm saying? But an elite manager like Alex Ferguson got them to win the league. So it wouldn't surprise me if Tottenham finished fourth at all, because they've got Conte, and you got to look where facts are facts. Conte is a better manager than Arteta. He's a much more proven manager than Arteta. The only thing is that's in Arteta's favour is, I would say, we have probably edge it on players. But with the injuries that we have now in place, it's a sticky one. Top four is wide open. I think United, I don't think they're going to really cause much of an issue. I think it will cause an issue if they beat us. If they beat us and they go on a little run.
Nah, man.
No, if they beat us and they go on a run, if they do, trust me, they're not that far off when you think about it. Look, let's get the table up now,
Show me the table. I feel like and in seventh.
Oh, one sec. Let me take that off.
Look, they're not even on. They're not even on the screenshot. That's how bad it's got for United. Man, don't
One
even
sec.
fit on the screen.
Nah, they are. It's
Look
this
at
thing.
that. Yo, that was old school days. Sky Sports News. You have to wait for it to scroll down to see what's going on with your team. There we go. United, 30 games, 51 points.
Do you know what I mean? They're not far off. West
Nah,
Ham are in
they're
there
too
now.
far off. They're too far off. They're too. There's too many. Like for Arsenal, for
Bro, a
Tottenham
lot
and
can happen in
Arsenal.
8 games, man. Trust me.
Tottenham have got 3 points on him. Arsenal have got 3 points and a game in hand. I think that Tottenham under Conte and the Arsenal team that we've been seeing in 2022 are going to drop enough points for United to come back into that. Because United ain't going to win every game until the end of the season. And even if they did, I don't know if, do you know what I mean? Tottenham and
Nah,
Arsenal don't look like they're going to drop that many points. I think,
most
I
definitely.
don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Chelsea
I
are
think
dragged
it's
into
Tottenham
it.
Arsenal. I think it's Tottenham Arsenal. Oh, brother, I told you from the get go, I would love for Tottenham or Arsenal to pip Chelsea for third place. Imagine Chelsea dropped out the top four. They've got that game in hand though, and I don't think that. I don't think they'll lose too many. Do you know what I mean? They lost. I know they lost against Brentford. I don't anticipate that being. They're now going to lose 4 games on the bounce, and that's the
Nah, I
thing.
hear
Now
that.
we're so close to the end of the season. There's not that many games left where for this top part of the table, probably most of them games these top teams will be winning, and the big deciders are when they play each other or the teams that drop points.
The table. Yeah.
That's a baldy
I
Danny
know he's gonna
Murphy.
end up getting blocked now. It's doing not in these
United,
United
listen,
fans.
listen. Danny Murphy is a die-hard City. Slander comes naturally. Listen, Man United.
These
It's a
United
hard thing.
fans have got
I
no manners,
understand.
bro. I'm telling you, a lot of
I
these
understand.
we've dealt with them all our life, man. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
it's
It's
all
just a
good.
bit of innocent
It's
banter, but keep it
nothing
respectful, or I should
needless.
ask to just get blocked. Simple as that. You get me? Do you know what I mean? But now, so just going on to Tottenham, Tom, finishing off on him.
Yeah,
Do you
man.
think they're favourites now, or do you still think Arsenal with that game in hand are probably edging it? In your opinion, because I don't see us as favourites, to be honest, even with that game in hand. I think we've got a lot of big games coming up, and I just can't see
This
us.
weekend swayed me a little bit. This weekend was the first weekend where I started to think, yeah, I could definitely see Conte and Tottenham just. If Conte and Tottenham finished fourth, once it was done, I think you would look at it and think, oh yeah, that was always going to happen. That's Conte. He was gonna win that race for fourth place. That doesn't mean I think that it's necessarily going to happen, but I think if it happens, we'll look back and think, oh, that was to be expected, kind of. So that seeing that over the weekend, seeing Arsenal drop points and Tottenham just still kind of full steam ahead, I thought, oh, he knows he's used to going in to racing for the title at this stage of the season. He ain't feeling no pressure about racing for fourth. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just in his natural mode at this point.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one. There was injuries to Arsenal. Like you said, it's a thin squad. I feel very differently today than I did 3 days ago, 4 days ago. I want to say Arsenal still, just because I want you to get fourth. But honestly, today, I feel like it's more likely Tottenham might get it.
Yeah, so United, no chance. West Ham, no chance. You think between Arsenal, Tottenham, and Tottenham and pip it.
And I think Tottenham will pip it, unfortunately. And I still want Arsenal to do it.
Okay, well, that makes sense because, to be honest with you, Tom, after that performance and the injuries that we've got, my confidence is being shot. I'm not saying we should give up, because we should never give up. You get me? We should play to the last game and give it everything we got, because we have got an opportunity and we are in a position to still give it a real go. But players, like I said earlier, need to stand up, be counted, and if they want to play Champions League and want to see this club push on and be successful, they need to pull it out, man. They need to pull their fingers out and get it over the line. But we're going to finish off just on Everton, because I know we're nearly near the hour mark now, Tom. Frank Lampard, man. Frank Lampard looking like he's going to get relegated, mate. I'm going to put up the table now, at the bottom half of the table now, yeah. And that's where Everton are sitting 17th, 25 points. They've got 2 games in hand on Watford, but I don't think they're going to win them 2 games in hand.
If Everton don't go down, it's only because there's three teams worse than Everton. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds obvious, but
Mm.
like there is problems over there. And I was speaking to a friend that's an Everton fan briefly today, um, and he was just breaking down like some of the actual deeper problems, like with the club, with the ownership, the way things are being managed. It's hours over there, to be
What
honest
was
with
his
you. It
point of
really
view
is.
from it? It'd be good to know what his point of view was.
He was saying he's struggling to even talk about Everton at the moment. He just feels like the cursed. I will get him on. I'll call him in one time, but
Get him on the
he
fan
was just saying
calling.
there's a lot. He was saying there's problems with I forget the name of the owner. The problems with the ownership, with the management. The squad. Bro, if that Keane got sent off in that game against
Probably done him a favour, to be fair. He's shit.
but it just, as he walked off the pitch, you just thought, this is what happens when you just end up with them championship players, like having to try and put in a shift on the Prem stage, and it's just not good enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
these
just
United fans. These United fans are funny. The third down. Chat
they're
bear
just
shit.
they're just infiltrating. You know the man with the no fucking profile picture, just the letter, just the in there talking.
Okay,
Hey
good.
man,
But
it's all
nah,
good.
see with Everton as well, they're looking to get sued as well. I'm hearing as well. They're in like £373 million cover up and that over COVID period. Premier League teams ain't happy in that, mate. They're
I
getting
don't
it
really
from all
understand that
angles.
though. I don't
I
really
didn't
understand why
understand
the other
it as well.
clubs are suing him.
I
But
think it's something to do with maybe the financial fair play and stuff like that, And I think maybe, with
I really don't want Everton to go
COVID
down though.
period. Now, I wouldn't like Everton to go
Because if
down
Everton
either,
go
man.
down and then get sued, and then something else happens with the owners, and next thing you know, you've got Everton getting relegated to League One, and all that stuff that started happening with flipping Derby County and all of these other clubs when they drop down. We don't want to see that happen to Everton.
Who was it that went bust? Bury.
Barry went bust.
Fucking hell.
Was it Wimbledon went bust back in the day? Stockport County nearly went bust a few times, but they're smaller clubs than Everton. But we seen what happened with Leeds, and then we're nearly not recovering. Sunderland dropping down the leagues. Newcastle at one point. Do you know what I mean? Like Everton, it feels like Everton. Someone need you. You would have hoped that the rich owners that we thought were coming into Everton were coming in to just do what they done with City and Manchester. Do you know what I mean? They've taken a city where there's already a massive global club, and then there's another big club in the city. It's a no-brainer to try build up that club to be a competitor within the city because the ecosystem already exists. The rivalries there, the marketing, all the rest of it. Like it's just
Brought some dumb players though, man. Dumb decisions, man. Like, bro, they brought Awobi for £40 million. Get me? When that went through, man was buzzing, thinking, what? Awobi,
yeah,
40
Arsenal
million.
fans were
Take that.
gassed.
Like, this is what you got to
He's
think of.
having
Just
a
answer
mare as
this
well.
here. Brems, they say the defence is fixed. What do you think? 8 goals from the last season's total goals conceded with Luis, Bellerin, Leno, Kolasinac holding in defence. Who no one rates. Basically, I'll be honest with you, because I actually watched the game, you get me, like, because stats don't really tell you fuck all, because if you pull up the Arsenal stats against Crystal Palace the other day, you would see, you get me, yesterday, you would see that stats don't really tell you the truth, because it looked like it was an even game. Arsenal were edging it in certain parts, possession, but that wasn't the truth. Man got absolutely toasted. You get me? Absolutely toasted. So, in actual fact, when I watched the game, I don't feel nervy like I did before. That's when we've got our full defence in. You get me, Tommy? I do feel a little bit nervy when Cedric's playing. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie. But with Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Ben White, and Tierney, I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I feel like the defence knows how to close the gaps well. I feel like they know how to drop and move back at the same time. They were coordinated, and I think it has improved. I think Saliba coming into that defence as well next season. Maybe they move out to a back three. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that it's much better than man like Mustafi and all of that, bro. You get me? Bellerin and all of that. David Luiz as well. He was decent, Luiz, but he had loads of mistakes in him. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's just to answer that question.
Goals
Tech.
conceded. Goals conceded.
I'll
If you
still
look,
win the league, the dickhead.
who knows? One day.
One day. One
Goals
day.
conceded. What does it mean if you finish like multiple places lower in the table, because it might have just been that you were, getting beat 1-0 a lot, or like, do you know what I mean, drawing 0-0, or or you weren't, or you could. There's loads of reasons. You know what I mean. It could be that the way the Prem is this season as well, and how competitive it is, like, and how like most teams in the league can turn up, and if you're not on your day, even if you're a better side or a top table side, and the other team is on their day and you don't turn up, you can get hit up like Chelsea did with Brentford. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
knock for
bit of a
6.
segue into that game, but Brentford are good enough, they've got enough quality that when Chelsea didn't turn up and Brentford were on their day, we beat you 4-1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it weren't a little, well, we beat you, we scraped past you 1-0. So even that could affect the goals conceded thing this season. The Arsenal have probably had games where they've conceded a couple of
Bro, it
goals or
wasn't
a
a
bag of
good.
goals to
Just
kick over
even
to
just
them.
this weekend weren't good for us. You got to think
Yeah,
Tottenham got
that's what I mean.
4 goals. We could ship 3 goals.
I'm
Got
looking at the
obviously they got
City.
5, but it was 5-1, weren't it? So they were like +4. But 7 goals they were plus on us in one game, bro. They had one. That's disgraceful when you're going for something and you want to push, man. You got to
Yeah.
squeeze, man. It looked like the players couldn't cope with the pressure, man. And this is just the story of Arsenal Football Club, man. When
Something
it gets hot, man can't really cook. What are you saying, fam?
Yeah. Now, I was gonna say something that I just remembered then that I wanted to say earlier with Vieira is the fact that he done that to Arsenal. Like, knowing full well, like, he knows, he will have known what the impact was going to be on Arsenal and Arsenal's season, potentially, like, getting beat the way he did. You know what I mean? Not to say like he knows, oh, I'm gonna single-handedly make Arsenal not get fourth, but he will have known that that Arsenal are in a flipping race of their own. And obviously he's a competitor, and all managers are competitive, and they're going there to win. But to win that emphatically, to me, kind of, it feels like alludes to him having a certain kind of winner's mentality and like ruthlessness, that like, no matter how much he loves Arsenal, he didn't even allow himself for a moment to be distracted by any like fondness or any, do you know what I mean? Like,
He was
any
probably
just,
vexed he didn't get offered the job or he didn't get called in for an interview or anything. You know
well,
what I
that's
mean?
the
Like,
next thing, innit?
you got to understand in it.
Would you, if Arteta start, let's say next season starts, it doesn't start well with Arteta, you want to get him out. Let's say you're either fifth or fourth, so you're in some kind of European campaign, but like coming up to Christmas, you're still in Europe, but the start of the season hasn't started that well. To get rid of Arteta, let's say that the managers that are out there in the world today, if Vieira becomes an option, would you consider it, or would you
See,
feel like
this is what Graham
or is it
said to me
another?
as well. Like, I wouldn't say no categorically because I love Patrick Vieira, but I think as fans we got to look past that and see what's the best for the club, because we have gone with a young manager in Arteta and who's worked under the best and they've put that faith and give him money and supported him. But it all comes down to winning. We need to win. So let's go and try to get a winner. Let's try to go and get somebody who's won something. Let's go to maybe a Zidane and say to Zidane, look, here's some money. Try something new here. We'll back you. You never know. Do you know what I mean? Because the point of Wenger going, the point of Emery going, is to get back in the Champions League, isn't it? To start competing, to get back up there. What's the point of them man going for us to just be comfortable to be sitting between 8th and 4th? Because I ain't comfortable with that, bro. You get me? We don't finish 4th, and we're not in a good position finishing not 4th. Your man's not going to be happy, fam. That's Arteta gone for me. Simple as that. And then you got to do some work. Like, these men should already be looking around thinking, right, what's what? If this doesn't get 4th now, how can we build on this team? How can we build on this squad? How can we build on the club? Do you know what I mean? Who else can
Yeah.
take and elevate what's being built now and take it to the next level? This is what these men in the background need to be thinking about, because that is
Who's on your
just
short
it.
list?
On my short list,
Managers.
is
Managers
it
first, then players second. Let me know who's your short list. Top three for each.
managers? I would try to get Allegri,
He's at Tuesday.
Juventus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll try to get Allegri. There's no harm in saying you can't go in and try to grab these managers. You get me?
Mm.
Money talks at the end of the day in football. Can't get him. Maybe get a Simeone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this one might be a sound like a far shot and sound a bit crazy, but if there's no other managers available, and like, because for example, if you got a manager at like an Ancelotti at Real Madrid and that you ain't
Yeah.
prizing him away, you get me? If Ten Hag comes to United, you ain't prizing him away. Do you know what I mean? So certain like Guardiola, Klopp, you're not prizing them man away. But a Brendan Rodgers, you could prize away. You get me? Somebody like that.
Would
Obviously,
you
I know
take
he's
Brandon
not.
as an upgrade?
No, I wouldn't. That's worst case scenario, isn't it? You get
Okay,
me? Like
but you
that's
think he's
worst
better?
case
Do you think
scenario. I'm
he's?
just saying 3.
Do you think he'd be better than? Would you take Brendan Rodgers before you take Vieira?
Oh no, I'll take Vieira, but the reason why I take it's hard to say, bro, because Brendan Rodgers for me, bro, people don't give him that much credit. But I actually like Brendan Rodgers, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really do like him as a manager
Good
because I
manager.
like, first of all, the style of play that he plays football with. I enjoy it. I think if you look at Leicester's team, a lot of the players that I would have wanted Arsenal to get, youngsters like Samare, Daka, Fofana, players like that, he's gone in and brought. So he looks like he knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? He's won the FA Cup with them, just like Arteta's won the FA Cup with Arsenal. You get me? He's of an older age. He's been around the block. He's managed various different teams, done well with Celtic. He has done good with Leicester. It's just this season, I think injuries have cost him. So yeah, I probably would maybe go with Brendan Rodgers, to be honest with you, because Vieira's doing well right now. You've got to give him a period of time in it. And I don't think one season's enough in the Premier League. You've got to have at least 2-3 seasons to see and then get a better understanding with a level head to see where it's at. Does that sound fair?
No, that sounds fair. It's a good answer. So who's your top 3 shortlist for players?
I'd sign. Right. Oh, we need more than 3 players, fam. Definitely need more than 3 players.
You can give me 5 for players.
Right, okay. So, I would go in and get a Frank Kessie. But now he's gone to Barcelona, I think he has, hasn't he? I think he's gone to Barcelona. He's moved anyway, but I would have got a Frank Kessie anyway because he was free.
Right. Well, let's take him out. Let's try, if possible, stick with people that I feel like could be realistically on a shortlist.
Realistically. Right, Lautaro Martinez.
He says he's at Milan still.
Yeah, but I think he's got some sort of agreement with
Barcelona to sign.
See, like this person here, this Navinda put Haaland, Bellingham and Rice, and I think realistically we'll never get any of them.
Yeah, exactly. So it needs to be people that it doesn't mean you can't get players that are around that caliber, but it won't be them. It will be other players that maybe aren't the bait names that are in high demand from other.
I'd go. Do you know what? I'd go for Lautaro Martinez as a striker, first choice. I'd go in for an Ivan Toney or a Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a backup. Obviously, but Tony. Yeah, I'll take Tony first because I've been watching Calvert-Lewin since he's come back. He hasn't really been setting much alight, to be honest with you, which is disappointing because I thought he had something about him.
I mean, he's in a bad situation over there, and sometimes that can just make everybody look bad. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But
we'll give him them 2. Yeah. Okay. Then I'd sign. Oh, we're gonna need 6 players here.
We've got Lautaro Martinez. We've got Ivan Toney.
Yeah, we got Lautaro Martinez, Ivan Toney. At left back, I would try to go and get, but he won't be cover, you see, because the problem is, do you know Lodi from Atletico?
Yeah.
Roman Lodi.
Are you saying to play as cover for Tierney?
Yeah, but the thing is with Tierney, like I've got Tierney always as first choice, but I just know he's going to get injured, and that second choice that's got to come in has got to be on job. You get me? It's got to be.
What about getting an experienced left back that's like maybe a bit over the hill, but you might
Pablo Zabaleta.
Not Zabaleta, but I was thinking like, where's Marcelo at the moment?
Eh?
Where's Marcelo?
Nah. Allow Marcelo now. Fuck that, yo. We can't be doing no more David Luiz's and Willians and all that, bro.
Nah,
You'll
but
have all of that.
put some more respect on Marcelo's name.
Nah, man,
Marcelo
these
is not
man
a
will
David
come to
Luiz.
us, yeah, go and start eating all that steak in London, yeah, living the high life on the Thames, and they won't be asked about Arsenal. Trust me, bro, they've got what they've got. They've just come in for a paycheck, man.
Well,
Basically,
maybe not.
I'd
Maybe
go,
not him.
I'd
But is
go
there
for
a?
that Jed Spence at right back as cover,
Okay.
because I think Cedric, although he's done all right, I'd still think we need stronger cover right back, and I've really liked that Jed Spence. I think he's young, fits the bill well, strong, fast, good shot. I like him.
So I've got Jed Spence. I've got Lautaro Martinez. I've got
Ivan Toney.
I've got a
And
left
then
back maybe to cover.
I
Tierney.
want to go for two midfielders and a left back.
Okay, go on now.
So the first midfielder I'd go for, young player. He's moved to American League with, I think their team's Atlanta down there as well, called Thiago Almeida. I've mentioned him loads and loads of times before. He's young. He's like 19, 20 years old. Like centre attacking midfielder, can play out on the wing as well. And I think he's a proper dynamo. Good player, man. I love him. And I'd probably go for someone that's realistic to Thomas Partey in midfield. And maybe go for like a Renato Sanchez. Maybe go for him, someone like him. And then left back as cover. It's hard because I can't just think off the top of my head who I would fit in who's
I know what you
available.
mean.
But who's that Tyrese Mitchell? But he won't come. He won't play second fiddle now. I don't. Do you know what
That's
they're
why
paying
I'm
for?
saying you might have. That might be one position where you might have to go out and get an older player. Maybe not a Marcelo, but someone like that who can give you a.
I'll think of one. It'll come to me.
Have a
It's
think.
just
Come back to me. But
it's
that
not
means you give
sitting
me
there
five
right now.
anyway. You give me a good five there. I like
You
that.
get me?
That's
That's
fine.
realistic though.
But they're all realistic signings, and I agree with you that every single one of them would be a positive addition to this squad. So if you can come up with five, okay, yeah, we haven't gone to then trying to go and sign them players, but that's just off the cuff. 5 players that we can say with a bit of footballing knowledge. There's at least a logical reason why you might think it could be realistic. Maybe they're coming from a club that's lower in the league, a club that doesn't have European football
Here's a good
anyway.
shot, Van Aanholt. It's a good shot
Van
as
Aanholt
cover.
would be a good one.
He's
That's what I
old
mean. You
as
need
well,
someone
like
like
someone
that
old.
that's gonna and they're gonna be
Premier
able
League
to.
proven.
They're
Got the
Premier League
games.
proven. They're gonna be able. They're gonna have insights and experience they can pass on to a Tierney, but they can also come in and do a job. Do you know what I mean?
Because they
That's
can't
kind of
take over
personally.
Tierney, because Tierney for me is captain. Obviously, we're gonna have to see what he's like now once he comes back from his injury. But hopefully, he comes back bigger and stronger, man. Big up to Kieran Tierney, man. I love him as a
Yeah,
player.
man.
I think he's
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant, and I think since
he
he's
is.
come to Arsenal Football Club, he's a player that, as you know, when you got one of them players like a Sanchez and an Ozil when they first come, and you like, he gives me that kind of vibe. So hopefully, he gets a speedy recovery. But yeah,
100%.
Tom, we're going to end the stream now. We've hit over an hour, people. Obviously, we'll be back next week, same time. Well, not same time, 8 o'clock, hopefully,
Have you got
on
a
Tuesday
prediction for
next
the?
week.
Have you got a prediction for the City Liverpool game? Biggest
City
game of the
Liverpool
season,
game.
probably, isn't it?
Oh, what are you talking? Carabao? Is it FA Cup? Is it
No,
Carabao Cup?
it's Premier League, no? Or am I tripping? Is it the cup first?
I'm tripping. Let me just double check that. I'm sure
it's
they're
the
meant to be
Premier League.
playing.
I think
Don't lie.
Let me just check that I'm not tripping.
Is that what the game is next week?
Premier League fixtures. Yeah, City Liverpool next Sunday, 4:30.
Oh,
Sunday
10th of April.
That's
I'm going to
probably
go
the
with my
biggest.
gut. I'm going to go with my gut. I think it's going to be... Oh, I don't know, because you know what? I'm a big... I like City as a football team. I like the way they play football. I've been supporting them, saying that I think they'll win the league. But Liverpool are coming with some ascendancy, man. I think I can see a draw, I can see it could be in a 2-2 draw, maybe.
A draw is
I'm
just
going
like
with a 2-2.
prolonging it. A draw's a
Sitting
good
on the
shout, to be
fence.
fair. A draw is a good shout.
Sitting
I
on
don't
the
feel
fence.
good. All of a sudden, I'm not feeling good about the whole situation. Liverpool are starting to put me on edge a little bit. They're in that mode where, like, you just think, oh, are they just gonna do that one where they just win and win and win and win, and they're not even playing that well, but they just keep winning and keep winning, and then they play well, and then they start playing well, and then it's a wrap, and the next thing you know, they've
Yeah.
won 4 trophies or something.
Yo, they look
They've still
inspired
got
at the
that.
moment.
You gotta remember that everyone talks about City, rightly so. We've earned the right to be the team that kind of is the first one in the conversation when you're talking about could do the treble, could do this. They're obviously in their dressing room, we're thinking we could win 4 trophies this year. Do you know what I mean? Realistically, like same way the City felt like that last year, they could realistically feel like we've got a good chance of winning the Champions League. We've got a good chance of winning the Premier League.
That kill
We've
United.
already
That
won. Oh, we kill City. I would hate
no,
that.
but I'm just saying, like, see, United have
Devastate.
got that treble. That would absolutely ruin.
It would kill. It would kill United, yeah. It would kill United. But for United fans, luckily for them, they've got their era. Do you know what I mean? They've got their era. They've got their time period where it's like, you know, treble 1999 team. Like, it's so far, so long ago now. Like that you can't really compare. Almost like it. Almost that team gets to be. They were the best team in the world at that time. Same way with the couple of United teams in that era, you know, for a long time, we're the best team in the world for this X amount of years, you know, 3-4 year period. This particular Fergie team was most dominant. You can go back, check, they were winning. If Liverpool go and do that and win them 4 trophies, that's in amongst City's like main period at the top. Now
That'd
you've
be the
got
greatest
Klopp and
ever
Liverpool
achievement.
that's in there. So then all of a sudden, when you look back over time, looking back at this period, it's not the straightforward conversation of that was the period where City were the best and most dominant team in the world. It's there's already some people that have their opinions about Klopp or Liverpool and whatever, but I think this season is still going to be swaying that conversation a little bit. If City go on to win the league and the Champions League and the FA Cup, I think that will put a lot of conversations to bed about City and Klopp and Liverpool. But if Liverpool go and do that, then Liverpool fans and other fans that are fans of Liverpool and Klopp will have every right to be saying, nah, Klopp is the guy. Klopp's the manager. Liverpool are the team of this period. Do you know what I mean?
I think if Klopp was to go on
So
and do that, I think you'd have to give it him. Even though
I'd
I
say
back Guardiola because it's the greatest achievement that we would have ever seen. And to take a Liverpool, an average Liverpool side that weren't winning fuck all when we were growing up, apart from that, the Champions League 2005 and the Carabao Cup. Other than that, they weren't really winning anything in our lifetime growing up.
yep.
He's changed them into a phenomenal team, man, and you got to give man credit for that, bro. And I just, if we had one of them managers, I'd be buzzing, and that's where I want to aim Arsenal to be, having one of the best managers in the world, best teams in the world, and actually challenging. Because that was the point of moving from Highbury, coming to the Emirates, not to go and get spanked up by Bayern and all that. You get me, Tom? So if is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up, my dog?
No, I just wanted to squeeze that in there at the end because I know that game.
I forgot about it, bro.
Yeah, well, that game will have been and gone by the time we next get on here. So,
oh, is it?
I
What
mean,
did Sunday in it? So they'll catch us on Tuesday, though.
Yeah.
So they'll see our response on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Tom, bless up, big up, man.
Appreciate
Good to have
it.
you
Bless
on.
up everyone in the comments.
People, peace out.
Love.
Thank you.